A UNC fraternity remains under fire and they could be in deep. We'll tell you why.
Have you done this yet? Health experts say you should. We've got you covered.
And we'll take a look back at something that caused quite a buzz on campus this semester.
That and more, this special edition of Carolina Week starts right now.
From the UNC School of Journalism and Mass Communication, covering Carolina in HD, this is Carolina Week.
Yet another semester at Carolina Week has come and gone, and tonight we'll take a look back at some of the stories that made news this fall.
We have all kinds of stories for you, some serious, others not so much.
Our first story is the first kind, and Carolina Week was the first to break the story. The Phi Fraternity has been suspended and is subject to having its charter revoked. That's the same fraternity David Shannon was pledging when he mysteriously fell to his death last year.
While no one is saying Shannon's death and the suspension are directly related, inappropriate new member activities, another term for hazing, is one of the reasons cited for the action. Landon Dowdy has the story.
The 55 active members of the Phi Fraternity at UNC call this the White House on the Hill. But its 55 active members could be looking for another place to live and party, depending on the results of a chapter review by the national governing body. One of the issues, hazing. The same issue Carrboro police say may have been involved in the death of this Carolina freshman, David Shannon of Charlotte. Shannon's body was found here at this Carrboro cement plant in October of 2012. Investigators say he fell to his death from this structure after climbing some 30 feet up.
Is he breathing?
This frantic 911 call came after friends, including some members of the Phi Fraternity, say they found Shannon's body.
Can you tell if he has any type of lacerations, any cuts, anything? I don't know, man. I don't know.
The state medical examiner says Shannon had a blood alcohol level of 0.22 at the time of his death, almost 3 times the legal limit. Alcohol is one of the issues involved in the fraternity's suspension. UNC Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs Winston Crisp stresses Shannon's death and the suspension are not directly related at the present time.
Carrboro Police continues to be engaged in an investigation into the events that surrounded the tragedy that ended David Shannon's life. That's an ongoing investigation that, as far as I know, has not reached any conclusions yet.
Captain Chris Atack of the Carrboro Police Department says hazing has been considered one of the possible factors in Shannon's death.
Couple that with the desire of people not to come forward with information, I mean, what would you conclude?
According to the fraternity's national organization, the suspension is a result of alleged risk management violations, including alcohol violations and inappropriate new member activities. In Chapel Hill, I'm Landon Dowdy.
Under suspension, all fraternity activities are suspended immediately. The national fraternity will decide if Chi Phi's charter will be revoked.
In early November, a fire in Cobb dorm forced hundreds of UNC students out of their rooms. University officials say insulation on the top of a shower electric light was the source of the blaze.
While most students are back, those from the 4th floor have been relocated for the remainder of the year. Margarita Panavong reports.
They got the news a week ago.
You will not be able to return to the building for the rest of the academic year. Okay?
Leaving residents with no choice but to pack up and move out, lining up in search for a new roof over their heads where the fire had left none. Jade Andrews, who lived on the 4th floor of Cobb, was one of these students.
Everybody's struggling right now.
For Andrews and the 75 other girls on the 4th floor, their move is permanent, at least for this year, affecting their lives and the lives of their new roommates.
I scared my roommate half to death, like she almost fell back in her chair.
Rick Bradley is the Associate Director of Housing and Residential Education.
They could put themselves in the other shoes. We would hope that they would be welcoming.
Now, Andrews is trying to adjust to the life in Craig and to the added stress that has come in the aftermath of the fire.
It's more traumatic than I thought it was going to be, because last night I was like, wow, I can't even sleep. I got nauseous.
Dr. Maureen Windle is Associate Director and Clinical Director of Counseling and Psychological Services. She says this is normal and hopes students will take advantage of counseling opportunities on campus.
So we want to encourage students to come in at any point in time to CAPS.
Though the moving process and living out of trash bags isn't ideal,
this is it. This is the trash bag.
Andrews is still grateful.
We just need to be really, really thankful that we're all alive.
a sentiment shared as residents remain Cobb strong. In Chapel Hill, I'm Margarita Ponvong.
Everyone received a message from Alert Carolina about the Cobb dorm fire. But what about other issues, like severe weather? The Alert Carolina system was updated this year after the tragic death of one UNC student this summer.
A falling tree right here on Franklin Street claimed the life of UNC student Julia Nunn last June. A string of thunderstorms were to blame. Randy Young is spokesman for the Department of Public Safety. He says Nunn's death led the department to start new Alert Carolina notifications dedicated to weather.
Really the gravity that was felt, that the campus community felt of having one of its own students tragically lost because of or related to inclement weather, I think that helped to motivate us to do that.
The Alert Carolina system came under fire last spring. There were complaints about insufficient and untimely warnings, but Young says DPS is not above listening to critiques, and feedback on the Alert Carolina system helps to shape the program.
Many of the improvements that have been made to the program of Alert Carolina have come because of public outcry or public concern. For example, the addition of the weather scenarios to the number of tiers that we have for information going out.
The Adverse Weather Alert Carolina messages will go out whenever the National Weather Service issues a tornado watch or warning and severe thunderstorm warnings for Orange County. A severe thunderstorm warning is exactly the kind of warning that the National Weather Service issued in Orange County when Julia Nunn was struck right here on Franklin Street, and it's exactly the kind of warning that DPS wants students to be aware of with their new weather alerts. The weather alerts may also be sent out when there isn't an immediate threat, but if the information will help people protect themselves and their property. Young says some students might not think much of the weather warnings, but DPS believes it's something that could help to prevent another tragedy on campus.
Speaking of DPS, did you know that nearly 40 iPhones were stolen on campus this semester? In the United States, 113 smartphones are stolen every minute.
We pretty much have our whole lives stored on that one tiny device. Reporter Francis Ralston tells us more about phone theft at UNC and what you can do to avoid it in the future.
We see these signs every day. They tell us not to leave valuables unattended, yet tons of expensive devices are reported stolen on campus each year. The item most often targeted? Smartphones. Sophomore Morgan McPherson had her iPhone stolen just last month from Lenore Dining Hall.
I was eating in Lenore Dining Hall one night with some friends. I left at the table beside our plates. Their phones were there too. Just came back, it wasn't there anymore.
McPherson's case is a classic example of what Sergeant Brian Walker of Chapel Hill Police calls opportunity crimes.
Someone leaves a cell phone sitting for a moment, turns their back or walks away, and when they come back, the cell phone's been taken.
According to UNC Department of Public Safety spokesman Randy Young, 39 cell phone larcenies were reported on campus this past year. Although that number is down from 54 larcenies reported the year before, it's still a serious issue on campus.
Gary Kay is a professor of technology and social media. He knows that the most valuable part of our phones isn't the phone itself anymore.
If I do lose my physical phone, that's not a big deal. I can replace that, but I can't replace the data as easily.
Pictures, contact information, emails, schedules. When we lose our phone, we lose personal data. So what's the number one way to protect it?
Every student that purchases a smartphone should absolutely have their pass lock enabled. If you do that, that solves 90% of the problems, because if somebody doesn't know your passcode, they can't get into your phone.
As far as other tips for phone security, Kay suggests backing up your data regularly and having a special mark that makes your phone unique. McPherson has some advice of her own.
Make sure I always carry it with me, especially on campus. Don't leave it at any tables. Make sure it's in my pocket or in my book bag or anything like that.
Follow these tips, and chances are your smartphone will be safe and sound. In Chapel Hill, I'm Frances Ralston reporting.
It's that time of year again. Coughing, sneezing, headaches. Flu season is here.
And it could be a deadly one. Officials with the state tell us 59 people died last year from the flu. Reporter Delia D'Ambra tells us where you can get your vaccine and why it's an important appointment to make this winter.
Megan McBride is a registered nurse at Campus Health Services. On her desk sits one item that tells you all you need to know about her expertise with vaccines.
This is a little over a year's worth of the vial tops. So when you come in, I've given lots and lots of shots.
Lots of flu shots are exactly what Campus Health is administering just a month into the season.
It's 1,500 doses of flu this flu season. So it seems like we have had more people getting their flu shot this year.
Students and faculty can get the shot from McBride, in the clinic, or even waiting for a prescription at the pharmacy. And timing is everything.
It takes your body about 2 weeks to start building up antibodies, so you want to get it as earlier the better.
Senior Melissa Schulman knows not making that decision last year cost her.
And it wasn't so much the cough or the cold aspect, it was more of just feeling so physically drained.
Luke Richardson remembers his bout with the flu last fall.
Cold sweats. I was just, that was probably the worst one, the headaches and the cold sweats.
McBride's tips on preventing the spread of sickness are simple.
Wash your hands, stay home if you are sick, and wear a mask.
And even though there are some side effects to the immunization,
a sore arm, maybe feel a little tired that night or have a headache,
the payoff is worth it.
It is 10 times better than getting the actual flu.
Also saving you time and money at the drugstore. Reporting in Chapel Hill, I'm Delia D'Ambra.
Vaccinations at Campus Health Services are free if you have Student Blue insurance, but cost $25 if your insurance provider is out of network.
Maybe this sign should be changed to say UNC at Hollywood. We'll tell you why.
And she's back. One of our more famous alums comes back to Carolina. We'll have her story next.
Be sure to check out Carolina Week online at carolinaweek.org. Connect with us online by liking the Carolina Week Facebook page and following us on Twitter at Carolina Week UNC.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere will bring us wireless emergency alerts. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know, wherever you are.
Ever dream about a chance on being on the big screen? Some UNC students are giving their best shot.
Chanel Davis reported from Hollywood this semester, where students have been replacing textbooks with headshots.
Kia hamsters are famous for dancing down the streets, but this Kia hamster dreams of dancing down the red carpet. Jordan Graham is the face behind the hamster mask.
I try to sneak it on my resume, was the Kia hamster.
Graham is an inspiring actor from Youngsville, North Carolina, who graduated from UNC Chapel Hill last spring.
How does Graham plan to take his communications degree from UNC to the big screen?
Graham plans to use the UNC Hollywood internship program as his ticket to the A-list. He spent his summer in Hollywood taking acting classes and interning at a production company and talent agency. Program director Paul Edwards believes Graham has what it takes.
It takes a special person and a brave person to make that leap, to come 3,000 miles, to leave your home, to leave your friends, and to come to an unknown, where some bald-headed guy is, trying to tell them that they can make it in show business.
The leap into show business is tough. In motion picture, there's more than 34,000 actors. And according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, less than 10% are employed. For 2 decades, the UNC program has sought to bring students into LA and out of the 90% unemployment rate. Garrett Kemble completed the program 5 years ago.
I interned about 100 steps down the hallway from here.
Now he's the manager of programming at NBC. Graham hopes to mirror Kemble's success.
This internship's definitely made my dreams of being a director, actor, way more manageable. Now I can see how people do it.
With stars like Andy Griffith, seeing Tar Heels on the big screen is nothing new. Maybe the next time you see Graham, he'll be out of the hamster costume and on a star. Reporting from Hollywood, I'm Janelle Davis.
There may be some Tar Heels in Hollywood, but there are others in the news business, like CNN's Brooke Baldwin.
And Baldwin returned to her alma mater this semester as a part of the Women in Media Leadership Series. Reporter Madison Wade shares Baldwin's experience back in Chapel Hill and the anchor advice to aspiring journalists.
You can see Brooke Baldwin on CNN every weekday on the screens of Carroll Hall. But this weekend, she left the anchor desk and appeared at UNC in person. She had a message for all female journalists.
Be aggressive, be yourself, be humble, stick up for yourself.
She shared that and more with students at a Women in Media Leadership speech.
Baldwin began her career here at UNC. She started as a camera operator and eventually moved on to be on the anchor desk at Carolina Week.
Things have changed in the media industry since Baldwin left Carolina Week, especially for women.
Like, I remember graduating here, and I remember Dr. T made me like pull out my crazy earring and cut my hair to be like anchor hair. And I remember like rolling my eyes, but doing it. And I feel like, though, through my, however long it's been for me, 12 years in this business, I think that women are freer to express themselves.
Professor Charlie Tuggle, or Dr. T, is the former director of Carolina Week. He remembers Baldwin's drive, not her anchor hair.
I predicted fairly early on that because of the drive, that Brooke was going to do well. You have to have the drive, you have to have the goods, but then some other things have to happen in your favor.
I'm Brooke Baldwin. Breaking news just into us here at CNN.
Baldwin says it takes a little bit of magic to make it in the news industry, but she urges women to use their strongest resource, each other.
And my biggest piece of advice is form a group of fellow women who help one another, not try to keep others down.
Now, Baldwin relies on fellow female journalists and Tar Heels.
I'm a Duke hater and a Carolina lover, and I wear it proudly. And again, it goes back to that helping one another, whether you're helping women, helping, Tar Heels.
This weekend, she cheered on the Tar Heels along with another woman making history, Chancellor Carol Folt. And Baldwin says just being back in Chapel Hill brings it all back together.
Sounds so cheesy, but when your world becomes so like this, it's nice to just step back and remember where you came from.
Reporting in Chapel Hill, I'm Madison Way.
All right, can we talk about hair, right? It's a big issue for most women, especially African-American women.
They're starting to ditch the chemicals and go more natural. And more Chapel Hill hairstylists are ready to relax the problem. Our reporter Brittany Hendricks has the story.
Delane's House of Beauty is a black hair salon that's been in Chapel Hill for more than 25 years. It's located on the corner of North Graham and West Franklin Street, only a mile and a half away from the center of campus. Catering to African-American hair, owner Delane Ingram says business has been slow, especially among her student clientele.
In the past 5 years, it's been great, but a little slow because of the change in hairstyles.
A change senior Angelica Arnold made 2 years ago when she decided to ditch the relaxer and go natural. She has never gotten her hair done in Chapel Hill, and she says it has to do with the limited number of hairstylists who have experience dealing with her hair texture.
Still haven't found one that I really like here. So I always go home to get my hair done, or I do it myself.
A natural hairstyle hasn't been straightened by a chemical known as relaxer, a cream that Arnold thinks causes damage to a person's hair.
And that's the problem that most people see with perms, relaxers, is that your hair starts to break off, growing unevenly because of the chemicals that are in your hair.
In 2009, actor and comedian Chris Rock produced a documentary called Good Hair that explores the history of the black hair culture.
Relaxer's the chemical that will take a black woman's hair from this and change it into this.
I feel that sometimes we tend to believe everything they say in a movie.
Ingram says she's trying to keep up with the changing times in order to accommodate Chapel Hill students with natural hair.
But now we have gone back to school and we're qualified now to do natural hair along with the other styles.
A problem Ingram believes she's well equipped to detangle. In Chapel Hill, I'm Brittany Hendricks.
Ooh, the university is in the condom business.
And business is good. We'll tell you why coming up.
I see it!
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Sick of taking the PDP back from Franklin Street after a night out? A lot of people feel that way. Now there's a new service, and it's creating quite a buzz on campus.
It started with a trip.
Well, this summer we traveled to India where we rode around in these open-air taxis called tuk-tuk.
That influenced an idea.
So we wanted to provide an alternative for students that was green, sustainable, but can also get kids home safe.
And that idea flourished into a new buzzing alternative for students.
Alrighty, well, I'll be at SAE in a little bit and I'll come pick you guys up.
In one of its 4 electric go-karts, Buzz Rides offers door-to-door pickup and drop-off services to students on or off campus, especially in areas that P2P doesn't reach. Founders and business school sophomores Joey Skavernick and Parker Drawn understood the dilemmas of finding late-night rides.
There were so many nights where me and Parker last year, we'd either be waiting for the P2P. Sometimes the P2P wouldn't drop us off at the stop. If it's so packed, it skips stops. Cabs are very expensive in Chapel Hill.
But why the name Buzz Rides? Skavernick and Drawn say it seemed most appropriate when factoring the nightlife of Chapel Hill and Carborough.
When we talked about Buzz Rides at first, a lot of kids, if they're buzzed, they need a ride home.
Servicing more than 230 students a night, Buzz Rides founders believe that this is the best way to ensure safety amongst students.
Safety is a big issue on campus, and we definitely wanted to make sure our peers can have a great time on the weekends and at nights and get to their dorm safely.
And at no cost to riders thanks to local businesses.
Advisors allow it to be free. They pay enough money that we can stay in operation every month and continue giving free rides.
With a successful start, Skavernick and Drawn are confident that Buzz Rides will continue to grow.
Did you know the university is in the condom business? Did you know you were paying for it?
Well, it is, and you are. And as Madison Way reports, business is very good, maybe too good.
Senior Maggie Connor is passionate about getting the word out about safe sex, even to the students who don't feel comfortable talking about it.
People are not comfortable with it yet, and they should be. If they're having sex, they need to be comfortable talking about how to be safe about it.
Connor says part of that is making sure students get condoms in a way that's discreet and makes them feel comfortable.
I'm sure some people are too nervous to buy them at the store too, because you don't want to bring up the condoms and, it's kind of embarrassing, I guess, for some people. So we want everyone who needed them to have access to them.
Free condoms!
Some give away condoms in the quad, but Campus Health Services game plan wrapped around the whole campus. Last April, UNC installed condom dispensers in bathrooms in the Union, SRC, and Rams. The project costs about $1,200 and used funds already allocated to the university's attempt to encourage safe sex. But did students even notice the new bins?
No, I haven't noticed the condom dispensers.
No, I haven't noticed the condom dispensers.
I have not, actually. This is the first time I've heard of that.
And even the ones who noticed also noticed a problem with the program.
I saw them twice. The one time was full, and then the time after that, there weren't any left.
UNC anticipated that and provides a phone number students can text when they spot an empty bin.
The men's and women's restrooms at the student union were both out of condoms, so I decided to text the number to see what would happen.
24 hours later, the bin still hadn't been refilled. I checked 8 more locations to see if that was the norm. Only one dispenser actually contained condoms. One SRC employee even said he's been working at the gym all semester and he's never seen those dispensers filled. But Maggie Connor says just expanding how the university distributes condoms is a step in the right sexual health direction.
I hope people just get more comfortable with it, and it needs to not be a stigmatized thing, because the stigma is really creating a negative impact on health.
In Chapel Hill, I'm Madison Way.
Over the past 20 months, students grabbed about 20,000 condoms from the 12 condom dispensers on campus.
His career ended early.
Too early. We'll have the story of Bryn Renner coming up next.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Okay. She's gonna love me all over again. Now.
Jamaica, here you come.
Here we go.
Good job.
It's hard to believe after starting 1-5 that the football team is headed to a bowl game, especially after losing its starting quarterback halfway through the season. Nicole Comparado takes us back to the first practice after his season-ending injury.
This is not the way that Bryn Renner wanted to end his college career at UNC.
Can't thank coaches and teammates, all my brothers in the locker room. Just mean a lot to me. I'm sorry for getting emotional, but this team means a lot to me. I gave it all I have in 5 years. Just tough right now.
And it was just as tough to watch. The senior first spoke to media at practice Tuesday after announcing that he would miss the rest of the season due to this hit at the NC State game Saturday. Renner didn't even come out to this practice field until the very end of practice because he said he didn't want to distract his teammates, although some of his teammates were already distracted and upset about losing their team's leader. One of them is the guy who will take Renner's place full-time now, quarterback Marquise Williams.
And it hurts to have him gone, but I'm gonna support him regardless. From here until he leave. I'm always be that little brother, and he's always gonna be that big brother to me.
Renner says his entire team is his family, and he'll never forget what they've been through together.
I've accomplished a lot in my career, and one thing that I'm proud of is I gave it 110 every time that I strapped up on Saturdays, and that's the one thing I miss is Saturdays. And I'd like to thank the fans and everybody who supported me through this whole time.
Coach Larry Fedora said Renner is only one of 3 guys in UNC history to throw for 8,000 yards. And though he'll be missed on the field, he feels for him on a more personal level.
I hate it for him. He's been a tremendous leader for our football team for the last 2 years since I've been here. I hate that his career here at UNC has come to an end at this time, and I know it's hard for him.
Though Renner is upset about his college career's premature ending, he's keeping his chin up.
I'm going to work my tail off to get back as soon as possible, prepare for the combine, and prepare for everything, for my future.
Future where he'll leave Carolina Blue behind a little sooner than he had planned. In Chapel Hill, I'm Nicole Comparado.
Prior to his injury, Renner played in one of the biggest games of his college career. For the first time in 4 years, UNC hosted a Thursday night football game and its first ever blackout game.
It may have been a blackout, but on Thursday night, Kenan Stadium was electric.
Yeah, all the hype of the Zero Dark Thursday, our fans were unbelievable. Our students were unbelievable. I mean, the atmosphere was crazy.
Head coach Larry Fedora thanked fans who came out to support the Heels in their biggest conference game yet. Only the second ESPN Thursday night home game in school history, Zero Dark Thursday kept students in town over fall break. Senior Katie Jernigan said she planned her entire break around the game.
I mean, we've never had a Thursday night game here, my 4 years here, and I was like, there's no way I can miss this. I mean, the last one was 4 years ago, and so as a student, you feel like that's something you can't miss.
But sophomore quarterback Marquise Williams said he thought students would miss the big game.
We felt like it wasn't going to be that much people there because it was fall break, but, a lot of fans showed us a lot of love, and that's what we respected. We came out with a lot of enthusiasm, ready to first ever blackout in the tar pit.
Despite their enthusiasm, the Heels fell to Miami in a heartbreaking loss. And as the team looks to this weekend's game against Boston College, they hope the Tar Pit can rally as much support as last week.
We can get that same thing every time we have a game. It'll be better for us. Because we can't do it by ourselves. We need our fans just like everybody else in the country need their fans.
After finishing the season 6-6 overall and 4-4 in the ACC, the Tar Heels could be playing in the Belk Bowl in Charlotte on December 28th. But that is just one of many bowl projections. We'll know for sure who and where UNC will play by the end of the weekend. The Heels finished their season 6-6 overall and 4-4 in the ACC.
Wow, tough season for the Heels.
Thanks, Allie.
It's time for Mass. Grab your Bible and don't forget your dog.
What are these pooches doing in church? More coming up next.
You were supposed to make a right, but you made a left. And it's okay, you found your way. On a personal note, as I was counseling the two of you,
Going to the chapel and we're going to bring Fido. Yes, you heard me right.
Ashley Dolan finds out why people are bringing more than their Bibles to church this weekend.
Bless their little hearts. And scales. And feathers. That was the idea during the Feast of St. Francis, as churches across the area held animal blessings. Big or small, young or old, land or sea, all animals were welcomed as owners brought out their pets to be blessed. Aaron Sanders, director of liturgy and catechumenate at St. Thomas More, says St. Francis' appreciation for all animals makes the feast a perfect day to celebrate this blessing.
Those mutual bonds of wanting to praise God together and also living together drew the animals to Francis.
And now, that sort of bond can be found between man and, of course, man's best friend. Just like Toby, whose family brought out Laura Lee Long's recently adopted puppy brother.
Our pets are part of our family, and since we go to Mass, we brought him today.
Or Olivia, a rescue dog with a rough past, but a bright future with her new owner, Brittany McCauley.
Bringing her here would be a good idea to get a blessing, since she's had such a rough go at life before.
And Coco, a dachshund puppy who captured anyone's heart within reach.
My dachshund couldn't be here today, but Coco sure wasn't going to miss her chance to get blessed.
And she wasn't alone for this opportunity for four-legged, and two-legged friends alike. These blessings were just as much for the animals as it was their owners, who got up and expressed their love for their pets.
Can't see, she can't hear, but she's one of the biggest joys in my life.
A gratitude shown for the pets and the unconditional love they give.
People have found so much joy in the companionship they get from those pets that they really want to thank God for that.
To keep them healthy and strong for many cuddles, pets, and tricks to come. In Chapel Hill and Durham, I'm Ashley Dolan.
That does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thanks for watching and have a good night.